Hi, Kristin. Thank you so much for joining me today on Trusted Connections.
Thanks, Teresa. So happy to be here.
Oh, good, good. So you had started real estate back in 2006, and this was right before the crash in 2008, and especially with the pandemic that has just happened, that is quite a treacherous time that most realtors, haven't experienced. And tell me about the resilience you had to have and all of the ups and downs of just mentally how you were able to work through all of those challenges.
Wow, that's such a powerful word, Teresa. Resiliency and a concept, being resilient. When I got into this business in 2006, I hadn't thought too much about being resilient, honestly. I got into the position, or got into real estate as a hobby. And so, as a way to further an interest that I had after buying my own home, working with two different realtors, they were both great. We just worked with two because of timing. Um, and I saw a future, a passion for selling, and an interest in real estate all coming together to form a great hobby. And then, in 2006, being so new, I hadn't seen the heights that people had seen in this business going from maybe 2003 to 2006. So I was protected from that high. Just getting into the business, had a good first year, a good second year. Then 2008 happened, and I made the decision to, just continue with my hobby as it was becoming my full-time, life's calling, so to speak. So in 2008, I did what I had always done in Philadelphia. When I moved here from Chicago, I like to tell people that I threw myself at the city. So I was attending every free event, every event in the morning, every event in the afternoon, every event in the evening, just developing your network, as I'm sure you know how to do, Teresa. And that's exactly what I did in real estate. Although little by little, it transferred into more client direct contact and less networking. So I was out every morning, every afternoon, every evening with my clients, and I wasn't out, networking as much. But in 2008, it was tough for everyone, and I definitely survived by developing a niche market in Graduate Hospital. I became kind of the unofficial mini mayor of Graduate Hospital before it was the hottest neighborhood in the city. I survived by going to the different builder sites and earning new construction business before anyone else did in that year. And I think being consistent helps you be more resilient. So my team and I talk about this all the time now, just being consistent with your actions and your efforts. It allows you to be more consistently resilient. So it's really a powerful concept.
So how do you help your team develop the habits to be consistent?
That's a tough question. I think we're all working on it all the time. I think you create a support structure and infrastructure where your team members hopefully follow the leadership that you offer. I'm consistently, number one, I'm consistently helping people. Number two, I'm consistently trying to be healthy through, being active, running, going to the gym, trying different bar classes, yoga, whatever it may be. Number three, I'm consistently watching my numbers. I'm consistently watching my business activity, my opportunities, my mets, my unmets, and how responsive I am. And I try to be as responsive as possible to my team so that I teach them how to be responsive back to me, but then also to our clients, because every client wants that attention and that wonderful feeling when you are a huge priority for someone else's success. So I hope I lead by example, but we're constantly refining our consistency and habits. I wouldn't say that my schedule is consistent every single day. What is consistent is that I get exercise in at least every other day during the week, like 3 to 4 times a week. I do some in my downtime every day, I'll practice a few just general positive thoughts, like what am I proud of? That's always a question that I answer for myself and hopefully for others, and teach them about that. Like, for example, I'm proud, before jumping on this podcast, I'm proud that I navigated this city to achieve, accomplish like 3 minor things and navigated all the traffic that we went through because it was kind of chaotic today. But, and I'm proud that I'm on here with you because we scheduled this months ago, and that's a big achievement, I think, for both of us, because we're all busy and we're all trying to make sense of how to do work in this new world we're living in with the pandemic. And it's not easy to be consistent and keep your commitments, your promises, your meetings. So I try to do that to my best ability as well.
Yeah, it absolutely is difficult to keep to that. I do agree. And, practicing gratitude and appreciation for just the little things daily is so, so important to your mental health, your productivity. It just, helps with things so much across the board. And in line with that, I know that you are seen as the connector in Philly. So explain to me, how do you connect with your clients? Because every individual is so different, and in order to um, really understand who you're working with and understanding their needs and what they want, what are your methods to best bring out what it is that you want to learn from them to help them achieve their end goal in finding the perfect home?
That's a great question too. I think that in everything that we do in business, again, being responsive and being timely helps you build trust. So, and that's been a consistent theme in my life. I've always been, from the time I was younger, just very, very efficient, getting things done quickly. What else can I do? What more can I take on? I have fun checking the boxes, like knocking things off of my to-do list. Unfortunately, now I don't have any time to make the to-do list. They're just kind of in my brain. And then when they get too overwhelming, I start writing things down, like I need to do these top 3 items first. But I build the client relationship, I think, through being immediately responsive and then being as knowledgeable as I possibly can. I mean, one of the relationships that I'm most proud of, I think, in 2020, I mean, there are many relationships that I'm proud of in 2020, but one client relationship that I'm most proud of in 2020 was one that I met at an open house where I was protecting my client's interests by pursuing a backup offer for $1 million+ condo in Center City, or Washington Square West. And at that, for some reason, at that particular open house, and now this was before the pandemic, it was around this time, we had no idea the pandemic was coming. The open house was really well attended by high quality buyers. Usually, partners, husband and wife, partner and partner, they were coming. And for some reason at that particular open house, there were a number of people from Bucks County looking at moving into the city. And so for this one specific couple, I was able to use my knowledge that I had just earned from helping another client buy a high-end condo in the Center City market to earn their trust, be responsive enough to earn their trust again. I think you have to earn trust at multiple points as you're developing a client relationship. And we ended up spending the rest of the afternoon together. I cleared my schedule for them and came from a place of contribution and humility, I guess, generosity, where I saw this opportunity to truly help them with my knowledge. And I wanted it to be very obvious that I was at their disposal. And then at the end of our time together, I was able, and I felt comfortable, and they accepted the offer to come back to my home. And I was able to entertain these new clients, not for, a big planned event, but it was just like a little moment of breaking bread where I invited them into my home, again, pre-pandemic, no masks. And we we consummated kind of our relationship by breaking bread, some wine and cheese. And they've become wonderful friends, wonderful clients of ours. And they're moving to the city in 2022 and are under contract at the Laurel, buying, property in one of the most amazing, new construction buildings in the city. So that's just one example of what I do. But we have, I think we have a very robust social media system. We connect with our clients through LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and all of our audiences are very different among those three platforms. So like my LinkedIn platform is very business focused, and I'm not connected to those people on Instagram. My Instagram, and they're very buyer or seller focused. On Instagram, I'm connected to my brokerage community and maybe a few clients. But really on Instagram, where I'm learning more about my fellow broker, I'm developing great cooperating agent relationships. Maybe I'm helping them, they're helping me. Maybe we're identifying some talent among that mix. And then Facebook really stems from my background in different cities, in Chicago, in New York, in LA, and now in Philadelphia, kind of prior to this point. So that's another way that we stay connected to our clients. And then obviously we have other ways too. I don't know if you want me to go into all of them, but.
Yeah, it's wonderful that you have a clear understanding of what each of those social media outlets are able to provide for your clients, and just being able to have it so directed and focused, because I know that that's something that a lot of people do struggle with, because it can be overwhelming when you have to balance all of the content for each of the different platforms. Yeah, it can be overwhelming, to say nonetheless. But circling back to when you were talking about earlier on with, when you were taking on, the clients, getting to know them, you have been in the business long enough to understand the market and to understand, what more or less what clients need and what would be best for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be challenging for them sometimes to let loose and to let you do your job, I'm sure. How do you deal with that that hurdle that sometimes comes up?
So oftentimes I'll ask for permission. I'll ask the client to allow me, if they are okay with me maybe interjecting our thought process or interjecting a search with some creativity. Maybe it's a first-time home buyer who I think would be well suited to buy a multi-unit property and live in one of the units and rent out the others. Maybe it's another first-time home buyer who has the support of lots of real estate minds and maybe the support of her family being at high levels within the Philadelphia area. But she wants to be independent and she doesn't want to utilize kind of those resources. She wants to form like a very unique and strong bond with me. So I am thinking for her and identifying where the pitfalls could be. With the relationship that I was talking about earlier, those clients made a very sensitive decision and it didn't happen overnight. So the clients and I spent several hours, frankly, just talking on the phone between 8 and 9 at night, which was when they were free. They were both together. And we played out many different scenarios for them. They could have purchased a lower valued condo and they could have renovated it. They could wait for a couple of years to make their decision. They had many different decision-making factors that they were throwing around when they made their decision. So I think listening to the client, asking for permission to add some creativity or add some thought, allowing the client to understand that you're okay if they don't like your idea. And I may say a few things in advance to allow them to say, like, feel free to just tell me no and be very direct with my idea. And if you like it, great. If you don't like it, let's just move on. I appreciate the fact that I've gotten to that stage in my career where and I think one of your questions maybe later revolves around this, like, when do you know that you think you've made it? Or when do you know that you've made it? I think I've made it when I can talk to my client honestly and directly and say, you're never going to offend me. Please be direct. If this solution isn't working for you, let's move on. If this is not the right time, let's wait. And that feels good to me. So hopefully that feels good to my clients.
Yeah, that's very important, and I'm sure that develops such a level of respect between all parties, being able to have the honesty and the open lines of communication to be able to, look at the bigger picture and to be able to, see what they want long term and to be able to help them, to go on the right path of getting there. And yeah, trust and honesty are really the foundation of allowing that to be able to happen. And in order to get to this point, there's a lot of personal fears and hesitations and doubts that every individual goes through. And it's something that some people get through quicker than others, and these things don't always go away. However, what are some examples of fears or doubts that you've had to work through over the years?
Oh my gosh, so many. I think one of the most obvious that comes to mind is when I started a family and had my soon-to-be 10-year-old Leo in 2011. One of the realities is just how do I stay in business? I knew I wanted to stay in business, but to what extent did I want to stay in business? Was I comfortable with childcare options as a first-time mother, as a new mother? Was I not comfortable with it? I don't have a lot of family in Philadelphia, so I wasn't able to rely on family very much. So those were major decisions, very difficult decisions. I'm happy I made the decisions that I did, but I was fearful during that time. And I finally relied on some coaching to help professional coaching for real estate, to help me just come to terms with the fact that I loved my real estate career and I wanted to move that forward. And once I accepted that and found ways to help me be a good mom, but also help me continue to be a great real estate professional, I felt much better and the fear was diminished. But I still have that fear. There's still times where I can't attend to client needs. There have been since I started a family, and I try to work on different solutions. Like my team helps me a lot manage client relationships that I can't attend to if I am with family. And then I help my team in return. They're able to gain experience and income and new relationships through that client connection. And I am able to hopefully guarantee to my clients that their quality of care and quality of service is upheld by my team and having me in the background watching what's going on. But I think that's one of the biggest fears. And then how else have I managed my fears? I think real estate in our society today can be very transactional. It can be very there can be a lot of change year by year, every 2 years, every 3 years, every 4 years. There's just a lot of change, and I think that I've learned how to manage that projected change by always seeking and connecting with talent, whether it's sales talent, whether it's operational talent, and just keeping my connections really fresh and open and full of potential, because I like seeing the good in everyone and I see potential in everyone. And I never really know how people are going to come in and out of my life. And so I like seeing this world where everyone is in it. And at some point, I like the idea of reaching out to people and saying, hey, have you ever thought about this? And I welcome those opportunities too, when people come to me and say, hey, Kristin, Would you like to be part of this? Would you like to be a partner at KW Philly? Would you like to join this business venture? Would you like to invest with me? Kristin, we're looking to gain more investment properties, but we need another partner. Those are things that I look forward to.
Who would you say are the thought leaders that help to shape your mindset and help you to set new goals and, keep the positive, good energy around you to help you to propel forward?
I don't know where I have it. I think my parents are pretty positive people, so obviously they're going to instill that in me. It is a conscious mindset, and don't get me wrong, there are moments when I feel stress and moments when I feel like the sky may be falling. And I think that in order to just get out of that mindset, it's a good step to, number one, just realize like there's something I feel off, or there's a situation that's not going my way. And knowing that you're in that situation allows you to get out of it. So anyway, there are many things, whether it's getting my nails done or going to have lunch with a friend, or getting a blowout, or going shopping, or calling my mom. There are many ways to get out of that. But I look at what Steve Jobs has done. I read his book. That was amazing. I don't know if it contributes to my positivity as much, but Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, just recognizing that if you're someone who starts the day with the glass half empty, there's no way that you as a real estate professional can fill anyone else's cup if you're starting the day with the glass half empty. So by nature, we have to be positive. We have to see opportunity. And I guess I like the surprise value, the shock value, the spontaneity of maybe something going wrong for me, and then me being able to problem solve and turning it around to benefit me and others, in my network. So if I can do that, that's definitely the train of thought that I want to follow. But I follow meditation practices, yoga practices. It's more activity. I like that natural high, I suppose, of anyone who's been an athlete or who enjoys some sort of activity. It's just that's kind of what I follow, is enjoying that activity, and listening, getting your body and your mind to work in sync so that you're happy and approaching the rest of your day with optimism.
Mm-hmm. So are these the practices that you instill with your team? Is this how you help them to try and work through their challenges throughout the year or the day, whatever it could be?
Yeah, definitely. And in fact, there's a saying on my team. It's what would Kristin do? So it's just kind of a little adage that my team has adopted. So when they're in a situation that seems odd or awkward or challenging, they put on their problem solving mode. And some of my team members have said that in the past, that they try to think like, what would Kristin do about this? And I probably just try to reserve judgment, wait a little bit. My dad used to have a 2-day rule where he wouldn't respond to a situation that caused him chaos for 2 days or something like that. I don't think in today's world we can wait 2 days, but it might be 10 minutes, it might be an hour, or it might be until you have a different framework. But just waiting and to see how something plays out, and then you can assess the situation and try to promote a solution with positivity versus anything else. I was just going to say, we have a situation going on today where we're trying to help some clients of ours buy a property, and it happens to be somewhat related to one of our team members. And it's all part of the negotiation process, but the buyers just wrote a heartfelt letter to the seller, and we're on top of it right away. I know that everybody kind of says that, but we're literally texting our client a screenshot of this letter so that they can make an informed decision. And I had a feeling that this would happen, but a couple of days ago, the buyers weren't ready to increase their offer. And so we gave them space to allow them to consider their options and make the right decision, and just increase their offer a little bit to try to get that win-win situation that we needed. Fingers so.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know, fingers crossed. Yes, that is. It's wonderful when you're able to think outside of the box and to help everyone to connect on, honestly, a deeper level, because really that's, at the end of the day, everybody wants to have that, because it's important to know that everything is not just surface and cold and transactional, and you want to know that there's meaning, because it's a big process for everyone, for the sellers and the buyers, because it's emotional. So yeah, it's important to be able to kind of be a catalyst, and be on the same page with everyone, to help them to to work through all of the challenges and things that come up with this. What do you look for in team members?
Good question. So for newer team members, I've had the benefit of attracting talent throughout my career. And I think it's just how I've chosen to brand myself. And I appreciate and I'm proud of the fact that I think our brand speaks for respect, responsibility, integrity, professionalism. And so whether it's LinkedIn or whether it's Instagram, I often am fielding inquiries for people who would like to get into real estate and join our team. And I look for the same qualities. I look for people who are passionate, persistent. I may establish a couple of little challenges too, because we're not always looking to fill spaces on our team, but we definitely want to hire the right people. So I'll give you a good example. One of our team members, Eleni, she found me on LinkedIn as a new Temple grad. She had just gotten her license, I think, or was getting it, the following week. At the time, we weren't looking to add on to our team, so I requested that we meet over the phone, which we did. And then she showed me her persistence by setting up an in-person meeting with me, and she was really good at it. So we met in person. I talked with her a little bit about, where we were at that point in time, and I was very honest with her. And then I decided, you know what, let's create a position for Eleni. I want to give her a chance, and she's proven to be a great addition to our team. She's had fantastic relationships, and she's a great role model for other people getting into the business. And she just attracted some talent who's new to our team as well, Olivia. And I think they're going to be, incredibly dynamic, and they have a huge future ahead of them. So we look for professionalism, a good understanding of numbers, in real estate, or just a growth mindset and educational mindset. We can always learn more. We look for good communication skills, good technology skills. We look for people who can problem solve, and then also people who can recover well, who are resilient, people who can kind of bounce back from anything that would bring them up or down during the day. And we like to work with people who are fun, so obviously that's important.
There is the business that you're in now, and the business that you're going to grow and become. What's the strategy you have in place to get from where you're at now to where you want to be? And I know over the past year, it's certainly changed a lot of people's perspective and their approach to what they want personally and professionally. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I think as I consider my career, prior to getting into real estate, I had a really strong background in corporate sales. And so I see the conscious movement and the conscious decision-making that I've made to always establish myself in an ownership position of what I'm doing. So, the sales positions that I had, I didn't have equity in the companies that I represented. I was a director of business development, director of sales, and I loved those positions. But once I got my real estate license, and then once I decided to commit to my independent business, and then once I started to grow a team, it has just allowed me to ride the ride of the highs and lows of a business person. And I think going forward, obviously I want to continue what I do as much as possible, continue to evaluate systems that help me replicate the quality in new ways, the quality and also the attention to detail that we offer our clientele base, but also allow me to be a business owner in other areas of other businesses. So whether that's through building out my investment portfolio more so, which I definitely need to do. And I love being a broker so much that I sometimes need to hire my own broker to buy my own investment properties. So if anybody has a good one out there, let me know. But buying more investment properties, getting involved in maybe some development projects that make sense. Maybe developing some other interests that I have, whether it's in design or whether it's in finance, and just being part of lots of different circles of trust so that I can have fun and educational conversations that really matter, that have outcomes, that have measurable numbers in them, that have outcomes where I can make my mark and invest some financial interest too. That's what I'm looking to do. And then also teach that to, the Elenies of the world, the other team members of my world, teach that to my kids, teach that to their friends. I was not exposed to real estate growing up. My parents were smart, but they didn't hold investment properties, and that definitely wasn't part of our language, growing up. So I got into the business when I was 30, which I considered to be somewhat late. So I played catch up for a little bit, but my kids know what rental properties are now. They will have their licenses by the time they're 18. Whether they choose to go into business with me or not, I don't really care. But although they may want to be lifeguards at the Jersey Shore, I wasn't a lifeguard at the Jersey Shore, but I definitely had a lot of fun being a lifeguard growing up. So who knows, maybe they'll be lifeguards like I was. But I think they'll make more money if they're a realtor with me during some summers in high school and college. And I'll tell you a quick funny story. Last summer, my boys and I were in Avalon or Ocean City, and my older one, Leo, said, or maybe it was my younger one, or maybe they both said this, "Mom, why are lifeguards always so strong and handsome?"
They certainly are.
I'm like, I don't know, but I'm happy they are.
Oh, that's too funny. Something to aspire to, yes. Oh, that's wonderful. What is something that you would tell, just one piece of advice you would tell new realtors coming into the business?
There's a lot of advice that I would give, but I suppose I would say pick three really amazing people in real estate to pattern yourself after, and then go do exactly what those three people are doing. So that's the short answer. I've had other people who have influenced my life and decisions, other mentors, if you will, that I follow. One person who I met early here in my time in Philly when I moved here said, always do the hardest things of your parts of your day first, right when you wake up. So that's good information too. Do what comes more naturally to you later in the day, but do what is difficult for you earlier in the day. What are some other ideas? I see real estate our economy has been so strong for so long, the last 10 years, that I see a lot of people getting into real estate thinking that it's a quick opportunity to make money. It's a quick, recipe, there's a quick recipe for success. That success may happen overnight by watching like the HGTV shows, Million Dollar Real Estate Deal or whatever. And it only takes them a short amount of time to realize like how challenging real estate can be. And it was challenging for me at certain times too. I think, you know, some of the first times I was dealing with very pragmatic and very, you know, deep thinkers who had a lot more going on than I did at the time before I had started my family and so on. I have made mistakes, or I could have done better in maybe communicating with them or dealing with them if I had just been maybe a better listener or been a little bit more patient, or maybe asked for their patience, you know. So I just hope that the real people who are getting into the business right now as a realtor, as a real estate professional, as a broker, an agent, a salesperson, that they stay humble, that they realize that it's very rare to have quick success overnight. And if there is quick success overnight, how replicable is it? Like, is it consistent overnight success, or is that just a one-time situation that was random? Because random success does happen in our business, and I love it. I think everybody loves it in our business. But in order for you to truly have a business, you have to be just as happy closing a small deal as a large deal. You have to give the same type of quality service to somebody buying a small investment property as like a new construction high-rise condo in Rittenhouse Square, because that's the only way that you're going to gain those client relationships. And also, I think the advice that I would tell a realtor is that the business is not about them. Like, my business isn't about me. In fact, sometimes I try not to act in a way that might overpower my clients or overshadow my clients in any way. I want the client to be the focal point of everything that we do. So that's the advice that I would give the new people to our business, is definitely stay humble, you know, pattern yourself after the success of others, and make sure that your client is always the focal point.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think a lot of people will gain a lot of insight from that, because I know there's a lot of people jumping into the industry, and I think, you know, the more advice that everyone can give to each other. I'm always a big believer in there's room for everybody at the top. So, you know, it's always important to pull up those around you. So for my final question, who would you like to highlight? What charity would you like to highlight for today?
Oh, thanks. That's another great question. About 15 years ago, I, with some other people in the city, founded a nonprofit called the SWCC Run Inc. Southwest Center City Run Inc. And it just hosts a small 5K run that at the time was designed to bring the community together, because there was a lot of gentrification going on in that neighborhood, and it was designed to bring together people to volunteer regardless of age or any other demographic. And so we started one of the first 5K runs through a neighborhood, and it was a feat that I was really proud of, and our whole group that started this in the neighborhood was really proud of. And we actually had 2 events grow out of that initial run effort. So it was the 5K run and another event called Blocktoberfest, which is a really popular event that has been hosted on South Street for a couple of years now. And now the 5K run effort is a major fundraiser for some of the public schools in the area. So we kind of gifted or engaged the parent group that has formed around 2 schools. One is the Friends of Chester Arthur, which is at 20th and Catherine, and the other one is at 19th and Christian, and it's called Stanton Elementary School. And I'm just so thankful and happy that we're teaching about the benefits of fitness to, a neighborhood, a community, and people of all ages, young and not young. And I'm so happy that parent groups have formed around these schools to support them, and then also to help continue the run development efforts. So I think this year, even though the run was virtual, I think we still raised about $30,000 for the schools, which is fantastic. And I know a lot of other realtors and a lot of other businesses have joined into the sponsorship efforts for this event in the neighborhood. So we're very proud of it. And hopefully next year we'll be running it live instead of virtual. It always happens around Halloween. But it is a great opportunity for the community to come together and support fitness and health, and then also the schools.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, where can people find more about this? On your website, I would assume?
Yep, you can find more about the interest on, or the SWCC 5K run at our website, which is www.dalyluxuryhomes.com. And you can always email me or text me anytime.
Awesome.
At 267-266-8629.
Wonderful. Kristin, thank you so much. I so appreciate you taking the time to impart some of your knowledge and experience on all of us. And hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was great, Teresa. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.